Buffalo's going to win it, folks.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout.
Let's see why the Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah,
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
right
Yeah.
now, baby. Come on, come on.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's a rough week without you, man. My man, PTP, we call him part-time preach. Out there in Miami on vacation, living his best life. You know. Nah, I'm doing good though. Mm-hmm.
See what's going on. It's been a while. I shouldn't have left you. All right,
Yep.
but I'm back. I'm back.
Part-time preach. We were about to put his face on the side of a milk carton. It was getting drastic, man. He left the hosting duties to us. I didn't love it.
Absolutely. But listen, we back. Shout out to you, Zach. I appreciate that. But listen, let me introduce our guest. Let's get the show back on track. Let me introduce our guest. We have our guy, Todd, from the Tay and Todd Washington Football Podcast. I got that right?
You got that right, yeah.
That's what I do. Todd, how you doing today? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And I got to say, you were just saying you were gone. Couple of weird things. One, you were gone on vacation in Miami last week. I was gone on vacation in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
You say your birthday was last week. My birthday was last week, too, on the 14th.
Oh, mine was the 21st.
Nice,
Shout
man.
out.
This is meant to be. It's
Absolutely.
meant to be.
Shout out to Virgo season. Shout out to Virgo season. You know the vibes. Listen,
Yes.
we're excited. We have an amazing show for you. We're going to get into this preview show, the Buffalo Bills versus the Washington Redskins. But before we do that, Matt, please let the people know who we are sponsored by.
Yes, sir. This show and every other show is brought to you by none other than Buffalo Wing Kings. Being from Buffalo, there's two things here the guys at the Overdue Bills podcast know. That's Bills football and that's wings. Our first choice and the best choice is Buffalo Wing Kings. At Wing Kings is Wings 101 with over 101 different flavors and their beloved Wing of the Month special. Wing Kings is sure to school any other place around. Opening up a new location in the University District on Main Street. I'm being told in the next couple weeks. I know I say that every episode. I'll have a date for you guys soon. Available for Bills games, parties, graduations, just anytime you want to go for lunch or dinner and go get your wings, go get a Wing King. Stop by their Elmwood Village location at 484 Elmwood Avenue or give them a call at 716-248-1427 and find out why they say and we know they got the best wings in town, hands down. And make sure you shout us out, Overdue Bills Podcast. You get 10% off your order.
Absolutely. Shout out to Buffalo Wing Kings. Please mention the name. Wings is going up. It's crazy here in Buffalo. But listen, we got you all covered. Let me say this before we get into the show. I got to do a little bit of house cleaning. You understand we got the website overduebillspod.com. Overduebillspod.com. We got the merch going. You can hit us up. And listen, we got some things that we're going to unveil next week. They didn't give me clearance to unveil it this week. Our trusty accountant, Matt, he did not give me clearance. But next week, I'm going to unveil some major things here at the Overdue Bills, what we're doing. So please be on the lookout for that. But listen, you know, everybody, quick question of the day. And when we do our interview session, I like to do a little bit of trivia. So I got some trivia for Matt and Todd. So I'm going to ask you, both of y'all going to answer. All right. Todd, can you tell me the overall record against the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Redskins,
Including the playoffs or no?
including the playoffs, just all time record. Now I'll tell you this: it's less than 16 games, like in
Okay.
total. It's less than 16 games. So I'll
Right.
give you. Okay. So, but you can go.
That's what okay. I figured it was. I know there was one. Was there a Super Bowl? I'm gonna go with. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with like 10-6
Okay.
Washington.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 9-4 Bills.
Okay, Matt was technically. I don't know who this closest. Okay, the record is Buffalo Bills. It's 9-6. So the Buffalo Bills won
Okay.
9 games. Washington football team won 6 games.
Wow.
So y'all was
Damn.
really like in line. Y'all was kind of
Okay,
like, I don't know who
okay.
to give it to, but it was around there. It was around there. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, Todd, since you brought up the Super Bowl, next trivia question. Can you tell me, it was Super Bowl 26 for everybody out there listening, what was the score of the Super Bowl game? Obviously, we know that the Washington football team won,
Yeah.
but what
yeah.
was the score of? It was a lot of points. I'll just give you that. It was
Yeah.
a lot of points. As a matter of fact, I'll give you this. One team was in the 30s, one team was in the 20s to make it a little bit more easier.
Man, okay. 34-21.
Okay. Matt?
I say 36-22.
It was 37-24.
Damn.
Man, okay.
It was
That's crazy.
37-24 Washington, Super Bowl 26. All right. I just wanted to start a little lighthearted.
Yeah, I
you know,
appreciate
just
that.
to, trivia, just to get the show rolling. But I'm gonna go to Todd first, and I gotta ask you this question. Because here in Bills country, we have a, how can I put this? I guess a love-hate relationship with the guy Fitzmagic, they call him. We may or may not have had him on the roster at one point. And the question I want to know is, who does the Washington fans want? Do y'all want Heineke or do you want Fitzmagic? Because we both know that they serve a purpose, right? Fitzmagic, he can throw the ball downfield. He can do those things. He's a journeyman. Heineke came in last year in the playoffs. He actually did pretty good. Did it better than everybody else would expect. So let me ask you this.
Right.
Who does the Washington fans want at the quarterback position?
Honestly, they want Heineke.
Wow.
They were okay with Fitzpatrick. We were cool with that. There was a kind of fake quarterback competition, but Fitzpatrick won it. But no one is really tripping that Heineke has to play. It was the most, like, the least, I don't know, difficult quarterback injury to deal with.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Heineke, from what we've seen in a small sample, has not been any worse than Fitzpatrick. And the reason they want Heineke is because we have been so starved for quarterbacks really forever that any glimmer of hope, we latch onto it and we got to find out what's there. And so with Heineke, that's what we're doing. We're evaluating him like he's a first-round rookie QB. So they want Heineke. And I don't know if you saw him play on Thursday, but after that, they definitely continue to want him.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Matt, so let me ask you this, Matt. Are you more comfortable with playing Heineke or playing Fitz? Because for some reason, Fitz, I don't know, when he plays against the Buffalo Bills, when he leaves and goes to another team, it's kind of mixed, but he can do some things. Like somehow or another, he can throw the ball a little bit better, when he plays against us. So Matt, how do you feel? Are you good with Heineke at the helm?
I'm good. I was good with either one. I actually kind of wanted to see Fitz a little more. I want to, just because we know Fitz, we know that he can do some things, but at the end of the game, he's gonna do something to probably mess it up at the end, or kind of make a mistake towards the end there. So I definitely, at least that's been our experience playing against him out in Miami and. Just even playing here too, just dropping the ball at the end, right after he got his money. But that's another story. But yeah, no, I would have rather seen Fitz, but I don't mind Heineke there either.
Yeah, I'm cool with either one. I actually like Heineke. You know what I'm saying? He can do some things with the ball. Fitz, we know what he can do. We know what he can't do. But let me transition into really the matchups, and let's really get into the preview of this game. We understand the Buffalo Bills is going to play the Washington football team here in Buffalo Sunday at 1 o'clock. Should be a decent game. I wouldn't say the game of the week, but it's a game that people are, planning on watching. And let me just ask you this. I'm going to go to Matt first. Matt, with the defensive line of the Washington Redskins, right? Chase Young leading that effort. Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, and those guys, do you think that our offensive line, because we know we've been having trouble, you know what I mean, in these past couple of games, do you think that our offensive line is ready for that defensive line?
To use the word ready, I don't know if we can use that. I mean, they're going to have a tough day. I mean, they didn't bode well against two top pass rushers in T.J. Watt, three I should say, Melvin Ingram and Cam Hayward, and they've given up they've given up only 4 sacks this season. But they have, I think they have the most QB pressures like against. Besides, I think we're maybe second to Miami. After that last week's Miami game, we kind of helped our offensive line out in that stat. But I don't know if I'd say we're ready. They're going to definitely have their hands full. They're going to have to adjust, maybe make some quicker throws, and not let Josh be able to hold on to the ball, as much as he kind of normally wants to.
So Todd,
to make plays.
Todd, let me ask you this, because there's been a lot of talk about the Washington Redskins defense. Right, and coming off of last year, some of the pundits, or most of the pundits, had them as a top 5 defense. But giving up 20 against Justin Herbert was not necessarily bad, but 29 against Daniel Jones, who is terrible. That wasn't necessarily a great showing. And a lot of the talk is last year you guys kind of benefited from playing bad quarterbacks, towards the end of like last season. So let me ask you this, dude, like the Washington fans and even yourself, do you think that this defense is a top 5 defense and will give the Bills problems?
So that's a good point, because where we kind of stand on the defense is that they played as well as they did largely against backup quarterbacks. Daniel Jones always plays so well against us. I don't know what it is, but he did play really well. So honestly, right now, I wouldn't say that our defense is top 5. Now, I think that they have the talent to be top 5. I think they have a coordinator who, even playing the quarterbacks we're playing, they can be top 5. But our linebackers are very weak. And that's really the biggest concern right now, on top of the fact that we've got some moving parts and pieces that are still getting in sync. We've got a 3rd-round rookie playing cornerback on the outside. We have a 1st-round rookie in Jamin Davis. We've got a couple of new things in the back end. So, and then also defenses can take a step back. So I think top 10, anything less than top 10 would be a letdown. If they're top 5 again, that would be impressive. But I don't feel especially confident going up against an offense with Josh Allen, with Stephon Diggs, with Cole Beasley, because that's some firepower that I'm kind of worried about.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that because I know last game the Buffalo Bills were able to run the ball a little bit more against Miami, what would you prefer? Like what are you guys expecting in this game from the Buffalo Bills? Do you think that, it's if we come out kind of like 4 wide, spread you out, does that kind of feed into your hands? Or if we go 11 personnel like we've been doing kind of more, having the tight end traditional offensive set and running the ball and kind of just methodically going through it, do you think that kind of gives you problems? What kind of gives you problems the most, you think?
Yeah, I honestly, it's been last year was the running defense. This year it's been the coverage more so. Against the Chargers, they played pretty well. Against Austin Eckler, they defended the run pretty well. Against the Giants, Saquon had a 41-yard run. And then Daniel Jones had like 95 yards. That was the issue. It really wasn't the running backs running the ball. It was Daniel Jones. So for me, it's honestly the run defense. It's not just Devin Singletary and the running back, Zach Moss, right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah,
right?
it's a number. Yep.
I don't see any way that the Bills offensive coordinator, head coach Josh Allen don't watch the film from the Giants game and say, we got to run read option. We got to run zone read, especially when number 96, our backup defensive end, is in the game, which is what the Giants did. Every time he's in the field, run the zone read right at him. He's going to crash on the running back, and Josh Allen is gone. So that's my main concern. It's not even so much the running backs. It's really the quarterback, Josh Allen, who is very mobile, and them kind of just running that zone read that we haven't shown we can defend this year.
Interesting. So, Matt, let me ask you this. Because when you look at the offensive side of the Washington football team, we understand Terry McLaurin, right? Top-tier receiver. I guess Logan Thomas is tight end. He's, a decent player, Antonio Gibson. But
Bill, yeah.
My thing is, I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Todd. Like, who is the second, like, right receiver, like, that y'all really counting? Is it Adam Humphries? Like, who is that second person?
Yeah,
it is.
It's supposed to be Curtis Samuel.
Oh, he's hurt. Yeah,
and he's on IR. Yeah. So right now it's our rookie, a 3rd-round rookie, De'Ami Brown, who still kind of getting his foot in, finding his rhythm.
Right.
So it really is going to be Logan Thomas, probably also J.D. McKissick or Antonio Gibson out of the backfield.
Gotcha.
That's probably what it'll be. When J.D. McKissick has a big game, they tend to do better offensively. So it'll probably go Terry McLaurin and then like J.D. McKissick.
So generally, I know McLaurin, he plays in a slot as well, a lot of his snaps. So, Matt, do you think that the Buffalo Bills should kind of just put T. White on him and just kind of see if they can just blanket him and just say, let the other guys, let's see if you can beat me. Do you think we're going to do that, or are we just going to just like play it just straight up and let's just see what happens?
You know what? I don't think they're gonna like have one guy shade on them just because of the fact that with what we've been doing, we haven't allowed a receiver to get more than 55 yards receiving against us in these first 2 games, and also a little stat that I looked up: Terry has yet to have a back-to-back 100-yard game, and he had 107 yards last week. So he kind of he normally doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't go over it back-to-back for some reason. But no, I don't think they're gonna have one specific person on him. I think they're going to kind of keep doing what they're doing, and just kind of because of the way that we blitz, we use safeties, nickel corners, stuff like that. So you kind of gotta like switch it up to make it so they're not used to having just the one guy on, and drawing up something on that one guy,
Right. Let me say this definitely to the people who in the comments. Yes, he is from the Washington football team. This is our guy, Todd, from Tate and Todd Washington Football Podcast. He is from the opponent's team. Just so everybody to let you know, I apologize. I know y'all came in late, so that's just an update for everybody. All right, so back to the show, back to the regular programming. And let me ask you this. Is the Washington football team? I'm just curious about this team. Are y'all content with Jack Del Rio? I mean, honestly, like, okay, yeah, you can.
No. Yes.
Okay.
Now, 2 weeks in, fans, it's week. The first 3 weeks is overreaction season, right? But we are, because we haven't had a good defensive coordinator in about. He's the best we've had in 10 years, and that's not an exaggeration. So, we are content with him for the time being. Yeah.
Okay. And with that being said, I know the Buffalo Bills last year we've had some issues with our run defense, but this year we're kind of been stout, at least for the first 2 games. I mean, it's been Pittsburgh who had a better offensive line, and Miami who had a better offensive line as well. But do you think that as far as scheme-wise, do you think Scott Turner is going to just pound the ball with Antonio Gibson? How do you think you're going to attack this Bills defense?
It's a good question. Now, you said you like to blitz a lot and send a lot of kind of disguised blitzes, pressures, right, with corners, safeties, and all that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that he is going to try to run the ball more. He did it week 1, and they've actually had more success running the ball than they did, especially early on last season. Our rookie right tackle, who is not so great against the pass, has been very good in the run. And then you've got Brandon Sheriff, who is our all-pro right guard, who I am not a fan of, but he's next to him. And so they've actually had a good amount of success running the ball. Last week, Taylor Heineke threw the ball, I believe it was 42 times.
Wow.
And for 336 yards. And that's not a winning formula, in my opinion, right? There's got to be more balance. Even if you can't play well, you don't want most quarterbacks throwing the ball 42 times, but especially not, in this situation. So I think he is going to stay more committed to the run. Gibson was averaging over 5 yards a carry last week. He only got 11 or 12 carries. So I think that they are going to try to pound the ball more so as to give Heineke a bit of a, not put too much on him with all these disguised pressures you're going to be throwing at him.
Yeah, and with that being said, Matt, do you think it's advantageous for us, the Buffalo Bills, to kind of just send the horses at him, right? I mean, he is a young quarterback. Or do you think we're going to just sit back in coverage and say, okay, Heineke beat us, you know what I mean? March down the field in Buffalo with our raucous fans screaming. You're not going to be able to hear anything in your ear. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you think we're going to play it? Because personally, for me, I love those T. White blitzes, right? I mean, T. White, even though in Miami, he kind of jumps like a lot for some strange reason, and he's just actually just hit the quarterback. All you got to do is hit the quarterback. Just run and hit the quarterback. But do you think, like, we're going to send the pressure, or, like, front four, get at him, Russo, get at him? Like, how do you think we're going to kind of go at him?
Well, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get away from how we blitz. And, that's like a big part of our defense. We send Poyer a lot. We send Teron Johnson. Like, first play of the game in Miami, Teron Johnson had a sack. Right. And then 2 plays later, Micah Hyde comes down and gets a sack. So I don't think we're ever going to change up the blitz. But I will say last week, a big cog in our defensive line is Star, right? So he didn't practice Wednesday. He was limited today with his groin. That kind of like you saw it in week 1 when he didn't play. We didn't, obviously Ben got the ball out a lot, but we didn't get a big rush. We just kind of took up space. With the running game, we've yet to give up more than 45 yards to a rusher. And then 75 yards total was the most we've given up rushing. So, but in like team wise, but yeah, if Star is in the game, that front four is just they're solid. I had a picture. I saw a picture. There was a couple of plays where Star was getting blocked by 3 guys on the offensive line. He just eats up so much space, and that allows Ed Oliver and Greg Russo and Jerry Hughes to win. I know I said like in the recap on Monday, Tuesday, that there was a stat up of win rates when against the offensive line, and just to kind of base it off of a number, Aaron Donald had the best win rate with 20.4% of the time on average last year. Greg Rousseau was 35.7 against Miami, which is crazy. Then the rest of the D line, AJ Epinesa, Star, Ed Oliver, and Jerry Hughes, they were all above 24%. So they were winning. So with that kind of thing, you don't have to blitz as much, but if you are blitzing, then it will it'll obviously boost that. So I don't think we're going to stop blitzing, but it will. Our defense changes a lot if Star is not in there.
Absolutely. I mean, he's really, obviously we saw that last year. So Todd, let me ask you this, because I guess our 2 head coaches have history. I'm sure you're familiar with Sean McDermott. We used to be a defensive coordinator with Ron Rivera. And do you think that gives Ron Rivera a kind of advantage? Like, I mean, like you see these coaching trees, that happens all the time. I guess famously with a Bill Belichick, his coaching tree. But like coaching trees are happening all over the league now. And do you think that like Ron Rivera kind of has, like, does he, I don't know if you've seen that with any other coaches, but does he kind of use those tacticians to his advantage? Like him knowing as Sean McDermott and the intricacies of his defense and things of that nature. Do you think he'll use that to his advantage? Is he that cerebral, or he's just a kind of a X's and O's, like just, pound the pavement guy?
Right. Honestly, I don't think it will give him much of an advantage, mainly because I think Ron really does give his coordinators, Jack Del Rio and Scott Turner, like a lot of free reign to run there. Like he'll step in if he has to. And he said last year with the cancer, he wanted to step in more, and he couldn't just because of his, what he was going through. But I think that still he kind of gives them a lot of free reign, probably provides some comments. He's probably more hands-on with the defense since that's his background. But I mean, Sean McDermott has had a good amount of success here now. And so I really don't think so. I think it's pretty fair game.
Interesting. I think, I think we match up well, with the Washington football team. I'm gonna be interested to see how the game plays out, and we're just in a few minutes. We're about to go into some over-unders to see, like, kind of, where we fare and how we feel about it. But before we do that, we have to go to our segment of expectation versus reality. Expectation versus reality. And before we do that, Matt, can you please let the people know who sponsored this segment?
Yeah, this segment is brought to you by Buffalo Pet Supply. Do you have a pet? Are you looking into getting a pet, or do you know someone who has a pet? And there's only one place to send them for everything to make that pet live its best life. Buffalo Pet Supply. Specializing in fish, small animals, and reptiles, a knowledgeable staff at Buffalo Pet Supply can get you set up or maintain whatever setup you have. Stop on down and see the family-owned and operated staff at 1345 Military Road, or give them a call at 716-874-1951.
All right. We just got a question in the comments, and I'm going to ask you a question about the expectation versus reality in just 1 second. But this is actually a very interesting question. What is the vibe of the team being called the Washington football team? Like, do people ever do I hate it? Is it like just like?
So generally, okay, it's broken up into different sections. So you've got the people who say we'll always be the Redskins. Okay. Now that's not the loudest voice. That voice is pretty small. We generally tune them out. In general, fans are okay with being called the Washington football team for now, but the majority don't accept that as the long-term official name because it's kind of it's just too bland. It's just, it's like the Buffalo football team. It's, it's just, so right now the vibe is like, we're cool with it for now while y'all are figuring everything else out, but it can't be the name long-term. And it feels weird. You can't say it every time. It's too long. It's too clunky. But then Washington, you don't always just say Washington. And you can't say football team. That's what that's what they say to make fun of us, which they do, NFL. So overall, the general idea is it's too easy to like take jabs at. Yeah. It's too simple. So we don't like it, but we're fine with it for now.
Okay. I just can't believe that they didn't pick a name yet. Like the Cleveland Indians already switched. They're like, all right, we're rolling out this whole campaign, a whole season after, and it's just it's funny. It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's their.
I hope they get it right.
It's a terrible owner. People hate him.
Oh yeah. They're never gonna. Maybe if you win a Super Bowl, they'll cut him some slack. Until then, no, it's all negative.
Right. So let me ask y'all this, and this is a question really to both of y'all about the respective teams. Buffalo Bills are 1-1. Washington Redskins are 1-1. And let me go to you, Matt, first. Matt, we know your expectation, right? Everybody knows watching the show your expectation of the Bills. Apparently, we're supposed to win 15-2. We're supposed to be the juggernaut team. Almost 3 games in, Matt. For the reality of the situation is the Bills are not necessarily what we thought. I guess what you thought we were going to be to some degree. Like, how do you feel about that?
I still feel the same way because going into the season, it was can the offense keep that train rolling and the defense get better? Right now, we can see 2 games in that the defense, they look stout, they look dominant, and the offense has to catch up. So that is a huge bonus for us. They have to catch up, and we still scored 35 points last week. So we're stumbling a little bit. Maybe Josh is trying to do a little bit too much in the first couple games, making mistakes. But that's a good problem to have. The offense has to catch up to the defense, and we're still winning games. So my stance on it really hasn't changed. It just kind of wasn't. I expected the offense to come out after that 3rd preseason game and just pick up where they left off there and just roll. But obviously that's not the case.
Right. And for you, Todd, like Washington coming into this season was the favorites to win the NFC East, right? A lot of people were picking them. You had Fitzmagic at the helm. He kind of won the job, and everybody talked about this top 5 defense. This vaunted defense was coming back. Chase Young leading the way. Terry McLaurin on the outside. Logan Thompson. You know what I mean? We heard the whole shebang. Antonio Gibson is going to take that next leap into the top 5 offense. But the first game, you didn't necessarily do so well. It was just the offense was kind of stymied, even though, Fitzpatrick went out. It was kind of rough. And the Giants game was just like, I don't know what's going on here. So, like, how does what is the vibe and the feeling of the team now moving forward? Do you still think that you're a playoff team?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, my prediction on the season has been 8 to 9 wins.
Okay.
And I mean, a lot of that stems from the fact that even though Fitzpatrick was our starter entering the season, until we have a young bona fide starter, it's always up in the air. And as long as that's the case, there's only so many games you can win in and out. So my expectations haven't changed really too much because they were never really high. Now, I think 9 wins may get you into the playoffs in the NFC. In the NFC East, it might win the division. It might get you a wild card spot. But the defense has definitely not been as good as I expected. I mean, even against the Chargers, they only gave up 20. 1 touchdown came from a turnover at the 3-yard line. But really the reason the offense couldn't score much against the Chargers was because the defense couldn't get them the ball. They gave up 14 third down conversions against the Chargers. 14 out of 18, really. There was a 15th off a penalty, and one of them was 14 out of 19. One of them was on the kneel down. So it was really 15 out of 18 was really the real number. Yeah. And against the Giants, it was a little up and down. So the defense is not as good as I expected. The offense is a little better. They scored 30 against the Giants, so my expectations are about the same. 8 or 9 wins, 7 to 9 wins is about where I'm at still.
Okay. And let's do a little bit of over under. We're about 30 minutes right now. We're gonna about to be concluding in a minute, but let's do this because I want to hear your thoughts on the game, right? Over under is set at 45 and a half, 45 and a hook, as they say. Yeah. And so Matt, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's an over under 45? Don't give me a prediction yet on the score. Just tell me, do you feel as though, and then tell me kind of why you feel that way.
I think everybody that I've talked to so far, they're hammering the under. They think it's going to be a crazy defensive battle, which I think it has a potential to be. But I do think that we're going to score. I mean, like I said, we put up 35 last week. We probably could have put up a couple extra touchdowns in the Steelers games, but there's some normal conversions or normal fourth down, third down calls that we wouldn't have made to kind of keep a drive alive to put points on the board. We didn't do. So I do think we're going to score a little bit more to push that over, and then Washington probably will. I don't think we're going to shut Washington out, but we're going to push the over.
Todd?
Well, before I answer, I have to ask you both a quick question so I can answer with all the information. And I'm a little familiar with y'all's offense because I have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs in fantasy and Cole Beasley on the bench. I'm trying to trade him. Why is it that Josh Allen has had less than 200 yards passing in both of these games? What's the main reason?
I'm so glad you did that, Todd, because I wasn't on the recap show, and I got my chance. I have my chance. I'm gonna be completely honest. And I'm sorry to all the Bill fans out there, but the truth of the matter is that we don't know if Josh Allen is fool's gold, right? And I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm honest. I don't know about everybody else on our show. But the reality is that last year may have been an aberration. We don't know yet. Because the truth is, what we know of Josh Allen is he's erratic. He's not accurate. And what we've seen these past 2 games was being erratic and not being accurate. So we really don't know. Like, those opportunities was there. Like, there's nothing wrong with the play calling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're calling the same plays. And I think what's happening now is, like I said, like, we're not really spreading the ball out like we used to. Like, we used to go 4 wide and just, throw the ball. Like, but we're not seeing Gabriel Davis. He's not being on the field as much as he was. And we're going 11 personnel with Dawson Knox at the tight end over there, maybe to help with the run or maybe help with blocking. I'm not really necessarily sure, but that is a shift because last year we was 4 wide. We're throwing the ball like 57 times. We're just going to air it out. So I think that a combination of him not being as accurate as he was last year, and we're kind of shifting the offense, right? Like in real time, we're kind of shifting to like an 11 personnel, more methodical. We're going to hand the ball off. You know what I mean? It's not as much play action. So like we're I think we're tinkering with some things now, and I'm not totally sure why. I don't know why what happened to the shift, but that's pretty much it. It's like a combination of Josh Allen not being the quarterback he was, and we're kind of like our offense is not the same as it was last year. But Matt, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, like you said, I do think that a lot of the play designs are more geared for him not to get rid of the ball so quickly, and the biggest issue so far has been the offensive line.
Yeah.
Week 1 he had 25 pressures. And between just the 3 pass rushers, Hayward, Ingram, and Watt, right? And he was sacked 3 times. He was hit, I think, 14 times of those 25 pressures. Last week, he was the most pressured quarterback in the league with 12 against Miami, who doesn't have a great pass rush. So I think a lot of that has to do with him having to maybe speed up. Maybe he wants to hold the ball a little longer, let the play develop, and he has to kind of speed up his process. And he just has to get a couple games to deal with that. I'm not sure, but we on the flip side though, we haven't just seen Josh Allen be garbage. Right. As much as Sam was saying, like there was a couple throws in last game that you like. There's nobody else that can really. There's only another guy that can make that throw, or 2 other guys like the first touchdown to Diggs, the throw to Dawson Knox where nobody else could get it. Dawson Knox had to go down and get it. And then the one throw is like a 36 yarder to Emmanuel Sanders on the first drive. So there's ups and downs, but I think he's gonna reel it in and get it rolling.
Okay, I appreciate that. Was very informative. I appreciate it.
I had to get that out.
Yeah, I've kind of with quarterbacks, I always got to see him do it more than 1 year. So I've had those questions. Although I had faith in Josh Allen, I think he will. But since you're saying that it's more of a quarterback issue and less of a scheme issue, and that it's somewhat trying to push the ball downfield and allow plays to develop, and that the offensive line is weak against the Chargers, our D line didn't do so great. But I think the Chargers' offensive line is really very good.
Sure.
They rebuilt that. The Giants were getting the ball out quick, and when they weren't, the pressure was getting there, and not even just from Younger Sweat, really from Jonathan Allen, the defensive lineman. Let's assume that offensively you keep doing what you're doing. These coordinators can be hard-headed. They say it's going to work. It's week 3, and assuming that they continue to do what they do and try to push the ball downfield while trying to run the ball, I'm going to go under the 40. It was 45 and a half.
45 and a half.
I'm going to go under 45 and a half, and will say it'll be more of a defensive battle. Someone will probably still get to the 20s, but I'm going under the 45 and a half.
Okay. So Matt and Todd, you can answer as well, obviously. I want to say rapid fire. You can give an explanation, but Josh Allen over 279 yards passing.
You know what? I'm gonna go over because we were really successful running. I don't know. We were really successful running the ball in the first couple of weeks. But I think that the defensive line and the front seven, I know he talked about his linebackers being weak, but the rookie, what's his name? Jamin Douglas. Jamin Davis. Jamin Douglas did. Yeah. Yep. See, this is why we have you on. You know, it's perfect. But yeah, no, I think their front seven is probably a little like the front four for Pittsburgh was good. I think this is going to be the best front seven we're going to see in running schemes and all that. So I think we will have to rely more heavily on the pass this week because I think all of our receivers will be able to win. You know, a lot faster than they have been. I mean, we played probably the best secondary in the league last week, and then Josh Allen literally didn't have time to do anything in week one. So I think this week the pass game will have a little bit more light to it.
Okay. I'm going to go under, not too far under. We've given up 300 yards back to back, but I'm going to say we kind of both get on track here where you get above the 200, but we stay below the 300. Okay. And so both defensively and offensively, we kind of both get back on track and meet in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Antonio Gibson over or under 117 yards just total. So that means passing and rushing as well. 117 yards. Do you think he's going to get over or under that?
I'll let you start.
You go, Todd. Yeah.
I'll go under. I'll go under because if you're stopping the run and your linebackers are pretty rangy, right? Edmonds and Milano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I'm also playing with the Bills in a Madden league right now because someone took Washington. So I have some familiarity with their roster. I think they're going to be ready for Gibson trying to get the ball out of the backfield. And then on top of that, McKissick he takes some of those sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go under on Gibson. They got to start getting it to him more, but I'm going to go under.
Matt.
Yeah, I think with the receiving core being banged up, we're going to be able to load the box up a little bit more. And like I was going to say, McKissick. I know when I had him in fantasy, he was the most targeted running back.
Tell me about it.
80 receptions last year.
Yes, yeah, it would be nothing for him to get 20 points because he'd have 11 receptions and 60 yards. It's crazy.
Right. Right.
So
but, yeah,
let me talk about
under.
All right, let me talk about this defensive line. Over or under 2.5 sacks, Todd.
Or which defensive line?
Oh, I'm sorry. Washington football team.
The
football team.
I'm gonna go over. They had 3 last week, I think 3, if not 4. But again, the Giants are getting the ball out so fast. If the Bills with a weak offensive line are trying to push the ball down the field too much, like if y'all do it, you will have some success. You will. But if you try to do it more than maybe what you should in situations Josh Allen where he shouldn't, the defensive line is going to get there at some point. And he's kind of an aggressive quarterback. Like he'll check it down or he'll take what's there. But other times he wants the shot play. And so, in those situations, I think there will be enough of them where they'll manage to get 3.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go just under with 2. I'm gonna go just under with 2. Just because of the fact that Josh Allen, he like you said, he does like to extend the play a little bit, but he also is a very tough guy to take down. So I'm thinking maybe because Darrell Williams has kind of started out slow. He's and then Deion Dawkins too. I think they I don't know, maybe I'm hoping they have a pride game. And they want to step up against these 2 young studs. Montez just got paid, and Chase Young is obviously almost unstoppable at times. So I think they're gonna have a little pride game and hold it down a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I got 2 questions. We're gonna get off. One, over under 3 turnovers from the Washington football team. Do you think that the Buffalo Bills will turn them over at least 3 times, Matt?
I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna go no. They're not under. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'll probably go under 2. They haven't been, they've only got 2 on the season. Heineke is actually pretty safe with the ball.
Okay.
Honestly, even that pick he threw at the end of last week it wasn't a terrible decision. The timing was thrown off. It was a really good break by the cornerback. But in general, he's not very dangerous. He's not very reckless with the ball. If it is more than 3, I would guess 2 of them are fumbles.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go under.
All right. And we're gonna get into our prediction. I'm gonna ask them their predictions on the score. But before we do that, the Washington football team, they do have somebody from the upstate area, Jared Patterson, who went to UB. And
right.
we want to know how does the Washington football team feel about our All-American? Now, how do y'all feel about him?
We love him. We love him. Honestly, close friend of mine who also has a podcast, grew up with him, had him on his podcast, and knows him personally. And then he did really well in the preseason. He earned his spot over Peyton Barber, which was our third running back, which we really wanted. And then he's gotten in week 1, he had a couple carries. He had one that was a good 7-yard run, got called back on a hold. He didn't get too many last week, but we love him. We really love him, especially because he played at Buffalo, but he's hometown Washington fan. So it works out perfectly. And I got to say, I mean, you got to admit, if he broke a 70-yard touchdown, you wouldn't feel too bad about it, right? We'd both be a little happier.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be upset.
No, yeah.
In garbage time.
Anybody be mad. Yeah, in
Garbage time.
Yeah. Not the
We're up,
heartbreaker.
right?
Yeah,
We're up already, so it doesn't make a difference.
Well, what's up, Matt?
I think that played a lot into him signing though with Washington. Obviously, he's from there. He's real close friends with Chase Young, and just getting back home. I know we almost had him on the show during combine time, but he was just too busy. Because my little brother shot he has like a program. Shout out to Josh. It's called Greenlight on YouTube. He shot like a kind of like an underdog story with him. So
wow.
Yeah, and because my brother did a lot of work at UB with him. So but yeah, no, people love him here. I mean, obviously he was an All-American. You know, he had a huge year and a shortened season last year. Right, that kind of hurt him. Yards. Yeah, it was crazy. But.
Yeah,
definitely. Shout out to Jared Patterson. Matt, give me your score. Let me hear it.
Oh man, I'm gonna go.
Oh Lord,
I'm gonna go. I'm going to go 34.
Oh, 34.
34 to 16.
Oh, my God.
34 to 16. Dustin Hopkins going to get a couple field goals in there. You know.
Okay. 34-16. Todd.
Yep.
I'm going to go.
Matt, that's not under.
Huh?
Is that
that's
under?
Over.
That's under 45?
That's
and a
over.
Half?
I said.
Oh, okay. You said over. Okay.
Yeah.
50, you just said 50 over.
Points.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Okay, I'm going to go. And I hope too many Washington fans don't watch this. I really try not to be negative, but I really just think the Bills are a better team. I'm going to go 23-13, though. I do think
I like that.
I think that the offense, I think maybe Buffalo's offense will get more on track, but not fully on track. And then we'll get 13 points in there one way or another. So I'm going to go 23-13 and under.
Okay. I like that. I don't necessarily give up my score. I try to frame it because I get really too caught up in the game. Our group chats get crazy. I just go off. So I'll leave it alone. But can I do this, Todd? Before we kind of cap the show, can you please let the people know where they can find all of your content?
Definitely. So on Twitter, it's at Tay in Todd Podcast, TAE, the letter N Todd Podcast, and then we're on YouTube. And just look at Tay and Todd Podcast. There's not too many out there. So if you search us, you should find it. And win or lose, I'll be breaking down Taylor Heineke's game. And as a Bills fan, if you want to see the mistakes or the positives from the defensive performance of the Bills, then check that out. And I'll probably try to do a defensive breakdown where you'll see the offense as well. So if you're a Bills fan and you're interested, be sure to check those out for just this week and see some all 22 breakdowns of what happened. So YouTube and Twitter, and then on podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, all that, Tay and Todd Podcast.
Absolutely. Shout out to Tay and Todd. Definitely Todd. We know Tay is a little bit busy right now.
He's getting locked up there in a couple of days. So wedding, not jail.
Absolutely. Definitely clear that up. Yeah. Shout out to him. We definitely appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for your time.
For sure.
Thank you for coming on. And listen, we appreciate it, Matt. Let me say this. Listen, we got the merch flying, man. The merch is going crazy. We got hoodies. We got hats, t-shirts. Listen, we have a huge announcement. We have they won't. I don't know why they wouldn't let me say it. But next week, next week Monday, we are going to announce something so big that everybody needs to, please like and share this. Let everybody know. Let them know that there's a huge announcement going on. And Matt, let the people know about the contest that we have going.
Yeah, the contest, man, it's up on our pages everywhere. You predict the score just like we did here, right? You predict the score, put the total offensive yards you think the Bills are going to have in the game as a tiebreaker. Winner of the contest gets a gift card to our lovely sponsor at Buffalo Wing Kings. So make sure you go get over to IG or over to Facebook, put your prediction in, man. Wings are going crazy right now. These are the best wings in town. You get them free wings on us.
Absolutely. Best wings in town, hands down. Listen, we appreciate all of you being on the show. And Matt, we end every show with a little bit of hey, 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 hey.
Hey.